So, welcome to today's session, and I think we're streaming live on Facebook, so which is fantastic. My name is Duni, and I'm from Drew Academy, and that's where we empower busy moms who have experienced loss. And today we're going to talk about, in this Time for You webinar, we're talking about self-love. There is a saying I came across: self-love is not selfish. And while it's a simple statement, it's a statement with a lot of fact behind it. It's a statement that has a lot of meaning behind it. When you are a mom or a caregiver, you find out that you do everything for everybody else. I've been there. I do that all the time. And the moment you feel like you need to do something for yourself, you start to feel guilty. I have been there. And there's sometimes I feel my child wants something, oh, this other one wants another thing. And family, friends, they need my time, or they need some guidance or some form of advice or help. I'm very quick to say, yeah, sure. What do you need? I'll get that sorted for you. I don't have time now, but I'll do it at this time. And I give them a date and a time, and we get it sorted. But I noticed that when I said to myself, say, I've worked so hard this week, I think I need to have, say, a massage. That's when COVID did not hit. So, for example, I say I'm going to have a massage this week. I don't schedule it. I don't put things in place to make it happen. Well, whereas if it was maybe a family member, my children, I would schedule it, put it in place, and make sure that that time is blocked. Now, when that was going on for a while, I thought to myself, this is not right, because I kept feeling guilty, but then I felt cheated as well. And you can only give when you have enough in your own reserve. Have you ever heard of a picture of water and the glass story? Okay, if you haven't, I'll tell you about it. Someone once told me a story about a glass of water, and the glass of water was like at the halfway mark. And some people came and said, so how would you describe this glass of water? Some said half full, some said half empty. Now, I'm sure you are aware of that description. And so they call about the half full are the optimistic people, the half empty are the pessimistic people. Fine. So this person then told me a very, very interesting twist to that story. Says, what if you describe it as a glass that has water in it? However, there is a pitcher of water by its side, so you can always refill. Whew. When I heard that, I was like, wow, I never thought of it that way. And since then, I have been describing my glass of water as a glass of water that has a pitcher on the side. So imagine yourself as the glass of water. You are always giving. Your children will take from the glass and drink. Your siblings will take from the glass and drink. Your spouse will take from the glass and drink. Your work colleagues will take from the glass and drink. At some point, you're going to feel close to empty. And unless you refill, you're going to be empty at some point. And when you're empty, do you think anybody is going to pick you up to drink from you? No, they will look somewhere else. So, having that at the back of our minds, let's think about it. We are always giving. We put everybody else's needs first, but ours. However, we don't also think about what we need to use to refill. And as simple as it sounds, yes, I did mention a picture of water. That picture of water signifies many things, because not only do we have our body, we have different aspects of our being. If, for example, I'm drinking fluids adequately, I'm having my 2 to 3 liters every day, I am going for my exercise, maybe aerobic, so I'm just doing something at home on the treadmill. And I'm also eating right. Do you think that that is going to give me a well-rounded or well-rejuvenated being? Not quite. Do you know why I say that? Because while you're hydrating and you're nourishing your body, you're eating the right foods and you're nourishing your body, you're doing some exercise and you're kind of nourishing your body as well, you also have a scenario whereby your mind, your thoughts could be racing. You could be having worrying thoughts. You could be having a disconnect from your purpose. So you might be going to work, but you're not connected to what you're doing. You're not connected to the people around you because you just feel out of sorts. And in those kind of scenarios, many people don't even know how to describe how they feel. They just know something is not right, but they don't know what it is. That is the reason why we need a holistic care. So it's not just take care of your body, exercise, eat, drink, sleep. It's more a whole part of you being put together, okay? So I'm going to describe to you the different parts of our being. But before I do that, I'm going to also tell you something that happened to me. I remember, I know probably you've heard this story before, but this is probably a different one. I'm not sure if you've heard it before. Please bear with me. If you haven't, that's fine. I'm so happy that you haven't. So, but this particular one was me trying to get myself together. I had lost my father. I was in a state of pain. I was sweating, having palpitations. I was confused. My thoughts were racing. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I found myself sad all the time. And I used to try to look for ways around it. Think about people who have gone through this, who have lost someone, and how they coped, how they managed. I mean, there I was. I had to take care of my children and myself, and I had to work full time. And it was just unthinkable how I was going to pull through all this. I didn't quite have a plan. And of course, when you speak about things like grief, people just say, yes, you move from this phase to this phase. But I soon found out that that was not the case. I was just hit with everything at once. And some days were good, some days were just horrible. So, having said that, when I was in that state, I had lost 3 dress sizes and I was just feeling depleted. I mean, in the morning when I woke up, I didn't want to get out of bed. In the night, I was too weak to do anything. I would stay up late to read because I couldn't sleep. So it was just a right mess. However, thankfully, all the things I was reading, at least I was able to get some nuggets, some things here, some tips here, some strategies here, and kind of put them together. So the first thing I started to do, I started to use music. So in the morning, I would put on some music as I'm waking up. And being brought up in the Christian faith and having a deep spiritual connection with God, I didn't want to sound like, God, why did you take my father away? I had it in my mind that if there's anybody that was ready to go, it was my dad, because he was the nicest person ever. But of course, I missed him so much. But I found myself asking questions sometimes. I was like, Lord, I know he's like an awesome dude. You wanted to have him by all means in your own kingdom, but for goodness sake, there are some people that really, maybe it was time for them to go too, but they're still here. Why did you take my dad? I had those feelings. I mean, I wouldn't say I just went, oh Lord, it's your will. No, if I said that, that's a total lie. It was difficult. But then a particular song I used to play every morning. It was a song by Don Moen, actually, that particular series. So I'll start from the beginning. And then when he gets this particular song, it goes like this. I will sing, I will praise, even in my darkest hour, through the sorrow and the pain, I will sing, I will praise. So that's how it went. And it was such a reflection of what I was going through at the time, because it was a dark hour in my life. But I chose to sing. I chose to praise, because I felt I needed to connect to the person who gave me life, to understand the will and the story and the purpose behind what had happened to me. And doing that every day was nourishing to my soul. Connecting in prayer, because I sometimes didn't have the words with which to pray. It was a nourishment to my spirit as well. So I didn't start from drink well, eat well, sleep well kind of thing, because I just couldn't get my head around all those things. However, when I started with the singing, the music, it started to unfold different aspects. And also remember, my nighttime was my study time. So I was feeding my mind as well. So when I talk about connecting to ourselves, when I talk about self-love, the self is body, which everybody knows, spirit, mind, and soul. And so whatever steps you would like to take, whatever care you would like to offer yourself, needs to cover every aspect, because you can't neglect anything, because all those make up you. And if one is deflated, if one is inadequate, if one is unfilled, the rest of it just moves around in a kind of rickety movement. So just imagine you've got a wheel, okay? And you've divided them into 4. So each quadrant represents body, mind, soul, spirit. If one is deflated, you can't have that whole circle moving in a very nice revolution. It's going to have a bit of a bump while it's going through the parts that are not particularly filled up. So we need to fill ourselves up. And by the time we're filling ourselves up, we can then revolve through life, through whatever circumstances we're facing. And as we're revolving, we are feeling everybody else we come across. So yes, we are moms, we are caregivers, we are always there to do everything to everybody, be everything to everybody. But you need to take some time for you. And thankfully, that morning hour, when as soon as I wake up and I put on the music, I decided to look for lazy ways that I could take care of myself. And these lazy ways were the kind of things that required minimal energy. Because remember, at that time, I didn't have any energy. I didn't have any mental space to process anything. So all I needed was something so simple that did not require any energy whatsoever and did not require any emotional strength. I didn't need willpower at all. So what I did was, the night before, I'll fill up my bottle of water. So while I've tucked my children in bed and I try to do stuff, do my studying, I fill up my bottle of water, I put it by my bedside. My phone usually is not too far away because my phone served as my alarm clock. So it wasn't too far away, which is good. And then the moment I finally went to bed after studying, I woke up in the morning, reached for my phone, which obviously woke me up with the alarm ringing. I did not snooze. I dismissed the alarm, and then I started my music. And while I started my music, I reached out with my eyes half closed, half open, and I started to drink my water. And I'll drink until the straw started to make those kind of sounds. You know, when you've drunk to the last drop in the bottle? Yes. Until I started to hear that sound, I did not put the bottle down. I then put the bottle down, and then I say, thank you, Lord, for another day. I just started that way. And with that, I could either roll out of bed, or the music, because it was so soft, it was so lovely, it was so gentle, it was so harmonious. I didn't have to wake my children up like, okay, children, it's time to wake up. No, the moment they hear that music, they just, oh, it's morning, and they just crawl into my bed. Oh, you know, it was just so beautiful. And then we'll have a little bit of a cuddle. And because I put my alarm ahead of time, so we still had about 10 minutes cuddle time even before we had to get up and start getting ready for school and work. So that really helped. But let me say something there. You see, the music supports the soul. The words of the music and the communication and the gratitude offered at the start of the day connected me to God and nourished my spirit. The water I drank hydrated my body. Because if you're not aware, I'll let you know now, when you sleep, you lose almost a liter of fluids as insensible water loss. So this is the water vapor that comes out when you're breathing. And if you're in a warm environment, say you've got your heating on, or it's summer, or you're sweating, obviously you're losing fluids. And when you lose fluids, your brain is dehydrated. Your brain cells rather are dehydrated. Your cells are just like, oh, help us, please. So the moment you wake up and you drink fluids, you, apart from kind of running, getting your bowel prepared for any form of nutrition you might be taking for the day, it also helps to provide the hydration for your brain cells, for your body cells, and gets you ready for the day. Okay? After some time, obviously, I wasn't in the mood to be dancing. So, and I wasn't ready to go exercise. It was just the last thing on my mind. After some time, I started to incorporate movement. And that's where, in the morning, I decided to not do it by myself, but to do it with the people who were my greatest fans, the loves of my life, my children. So yes, I added another song to the playlist. This one was a little bit more upbeat. The first one was more worship and, singing, I will sing, you can't really dance like hippie to that one. And then I added the second playlist, which the second music to the playlist, and that one was more upbeat. With that, I would tickle my little one and we'll start dancing and we'll chase ourselves around the place and we will start dancing and I'll do some dance steps and they'll copy me and they will do some dance steps and I'll copy them. So we were being playful. They were enjoying the moment. I was connecting with them. I was moving and getting some steps in. So technically, this was us getting ready for school and work, but able to get some exercise after hydration, after soothing the body, the soul. And that was beautiful. Okay, so this did not take much of an effort. It just needed the openness to say, you know what, I'll just have fun with my children. I'm just going to play with them. This is a time for us to just relax. Obviously, if you have work at 7 and you woke up at 5:30, that's going to be a very difficult thing to do. And that's why I really love the fact that I had the opportunity not to snooze my alarm. So I woke up in good time and then that was it. So the moment I started doing that, I started seeing some changes. And what were the changes I saw? I saw that I was a lot happier. So by the time I was getting the children ready and we were playing and splashing and having a good time, I got them dressed, got them into a buggy because the childcare, the nursery was not far from where I was living. So, and at that time I wasn't driving. So I would just load them into the buggy and put the standing panel for the older one to stand on, and I'll push them. But this was in the bleak midwinter. And it was sometimes when it was really cold and the rain was pouring or the snow or something, it made it a little more difficult. But we tried and we managed to plow through that, which was a good thing. The moment I dropped them, thankfully the nursery manager allowed me to leave the buggy there, and I was able to then run to work, which was quite good because I was running uphill. So that was another getting some exercise in as well. While at that time I thought it was, it is a stressful thing I'm going through, it was something that built me. It was another way of taking care of myself, the exercise that I put into it. And the moment I gave it a different meaning, it's time for me to get some steps in moving uphill, I started to have a different frame of mind than someone who felt defeated. And that's where the care of your mind comes in. Because when you wake up with a mind of, I am conquering today, I am making today beautiful for myself and my loved ones, I am taking care of myself today. Today I'm going to show up as the best version of myself. And if I make a mistake, it's okay. I can always correct it and move ahead. The moment you can start to accept yourself for the mistakes you make, the moment you can start to give yourself the permission to make any mistakes and be yourself, there's a lot of freedom. It felt like shackles were broken. It felt like I could do anything. And so it was. The moment this thing was moving in succession, I saw that there was a clarity of thought. There was an ability to think things through. I would need to make a decision, say at work. I would be able to make that decision without having to go or having the usual brain fog I was having at the time. So at that point, I thought to myself, I work full time. These children are in school, thankfully, from morning till evening, which was good. What time do I have to take care of me. And I know many people are in that situation at the moment. You probably have times when you thought, how am I going to take care of me? What am I going to do? I don't have the time. I don't have the 30 minutes to play with the children. I don't have the 30 minutes to hide away. Maybe my children are the ones that follow me to the bathroom. But even if you don't have that big block of time to do something for yourself, you can take little snippets of time. And those little snippets of time are the kind of periods where you find yourself in a situation of doing either a mindfulness practice or meditation, completing a gratitude journal. So you can say, okay, every night I would write 5 things I'm grateful for. Every morning I will write 5 things I'm grateful for. This practice doesn't usually take up to 5 minutes. Sometimes it takes less than 5 minutes, really, to be quite honest. I have this practice at night. After we finish our night's prayer, every one of us picks up our gratitude journal. And while the children write like maybe a number of things that they're grateful for, I tend to just go with a full page, at least a full page. Sometimes it spills over, and just list all the things for which I'm grateful for that day. And what I noticed when I started to do that was that as soon as I finished, I went back, maybe tidied up the kitchen. I put the children to bed. I tidied up the kitchen, prepare things for the following day. I slept well. Yes, that was when my poor sleep came to an end. That was when I could sleep good, long hours uninterrupted. It was beautiful. And so I would like to share with you that practice. If you're not doing it already, think about doing it. Just before you go to bed, do a gratitude practice. It's usually better when you write it down, because when you just say it, it's good. However, when you are writing it down, you're thinking about it. Sometimes you even say it and then you write it. So you're engaging more senses, your kinesthetic sense in writing, your thinking sense that's involving your mind, the auditory part of you as you say it, and also the ability to speak it out, which is very, very useful. Okay? One other thing which I noticed that helped reduce stress and overwhelm and the feeling of panic, it was very useful, was the practice of well-wishing. And that was where I wished myself well, which was beautiful. Of course, I always wanted to wish myself well. I wished my children and my loved ones well. I wished strangers well. And then I wished the people who hurt me, the people who I probably would have said I don't like them because they were mean to me or they had done 1 or 2 things to me. I wish them well. While I wouldn't like to pretend to you that it was so easy, initially, when I started, it was more like, okay, I wish myself well. May I be well. May I be at peace. May I be safe. May I be happy. And I say that for myself. And I say that to my children. I'm smiling and I'm happy. And the moment I get to the people who have upset me, I'm like, may they be well. May they be at peace. It went like that for a while. After some time, it became easier. Okay, it became easier. And then it came to a point where I could actually say, wow, people cannot give what they don't have. And as is rightly said, people that hurt you are hurt themselves. While it's not an excuse for them to hurt others. And it sometimes is unfortunate when we go through those kind of situations. It's very important to know that forgiving these people is not letting them off the hook. Forgiving these people is not condoning their action. Forgiving these people is not saying you are not worthy of love, of care, or respect. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. I love this saying. It goes something like, when you are angry or you refuse to forgive someone, it's like you drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Now that's not possible. So why do you want to drink poison? Let go. I know it's easier said than done. And it did take a lot of work, a lot of practice to be able to get to the point where you could let go, you could forgive, and move on with a clearer mind, with a peaceful heart, with a joyful spirit, with a happy soul. That is what you want. You don't want anything holding you down. And so, I do not know where you are now with your expression of love. Do not wait for somebody to express love to you. Do not wait for somebody to show you how special you are. People need to be shown by you how you should be treated. They will only treat you with love and have a standard when you set that standard. If you allow yourself to be trampled upon, if you allow yourself to say, it's okay, you can shout at me if you want, as long as it makes you happy, they will continue. If you have said, on this day, I don't work, I want to rest, I want to do something that will be there, a practice for me to do to take care of myself, and on that particular day, your boss or somebody else comes and says, oh, you have to do this for me. If you said to the person, well, I would like to do that for you, but I can't do it on that day, but I will do it another day. Is that okay? Or you just tell them matter-of-factly, this is what it is. I'm not available on that day. They would know that next time you are not just there at their beck and call. And it will set the precedence for you. Someone who would probably expect you to drop everything and just jump to their help, if you decided that from now on, your act of self-love to yourself will be to give yourself some time to pace yourself rather than just jump up and start to serve and flutter around, then they will have to recognize that when they call on you, they don't expect you to go into panic mode for them. So you're not living in their own emergency, but you're living in your own fullness, in your own wholeness, and at your own schedule. If that is your gift of self-love to yourself, it is priceless. So yes, self-love is not selfish. And you need to convince yourself that you are worthy of that love. If you are able to show yourself how worthy you are of the love you show yourself, others will see and will do the same to you. Others will see and will show you that level of respect and love and care. Yes, of course, some people will impose. They would want to test you to see if you would jump when they tell you to jump. But then, those things are not as common. Even when they come and you put your foot down, no, I would not do that, or I would not accept that. That is your act of love for yourself. So don't wait for someone else to buy you flowers, send you teddy bears. I know people are looking at, oh my goodness, if only the loves should send me things, or if people could send me some chocolate, that would be good. You can be that expression of love. You can get yourself that. I mean, be receptive to any gifts you receive from other people, but don't let them be your standard. You set the standard of the love you want to give to yourself. So I'm not too sure which one you would like to adopt today, but I'll really appreciate it if you would share with me what your main takeaway was in today's session. If you have any questions, I would be so happy to hear from you. I'll be so happy to engage with you. Leave your comments and your questions, and I would respond very timely. Okay? This is Duni from Drew Academy.